The opioid crisis, now officially a national emergency.
America's worst drug crisis ever.
When you hear about the opioid crisis and what's causing it, climate change is usually not mentioned. But with weather patterns and natural disasters getting more intense, there's new evidence that climate change is making the drug crisis even worse. From 1999 to 2016, more than 700,000 Americans died from drug overdoses. But when we talk about the opioid crisis, we're talking specifically about this spike in deaths due to synthetic opioids such as fentanyl. And this crisis is not unique to the US. In the span of just 2.5 years, more than 10,000 Canadians lost their lives to opioid-related overdoses. And while the overprescription of opioid painkillers and a tainted illicit drug supply is driving this crisis, new research reveals there's a link between the rising rates of substance addiction and extreme weather events.
I never planned to leave here. I thought I was going to stay here the rest of my life.
With the destruction of property, displacement, and even death, natural disasters can cause lasting psychological conditions, including post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, and addiction.
My dog was in my apartment.
The vibrant streets of New Orleans, once filled with life, are now rapidly filling up with water.
After Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans in 2005, the rate of drug-related deaths rose dramatically. And the same thing happened in areas affected by Hurricane Sandy in 2012. And in Canada, a small Indigenous community in Saskatchewan is experiencing a crystal meth epidemic. Out of the 1,200 people who live in Montreal Lake Cree Nation, it's estimated half are crystal meth users. Community leaders are attributing this crisis to the summer of 2015, when the entire community was evacuated due to wildfires and sent to nearby cities.
Prior to 2015, the community knew very little about the drug. When you take a whole First Nation off of their land base, there's huge trauma in that. Huge trauma.
Scientists are just starting to study the relationship between climate change and mental health. This chart shows that as the climate warms, an increasing number of people will suffer from mental health issues, and this will affect low-income families and women the hardest. We already have a word for this. It's called eco-anxiety. If anything, this new research confirms what we already know, that climate change will do so much more than alter the physical environment around us.